Welcome everybody. I'm Kalani. This is another session of music mindfulness, another service of Kalani Music, our Sunday service, and it's great to have you back. If you're interested in the music I'm making, how I'm making it, what I'm doing, the instruments I'm playing, you can meet me over at patreon.com/Kalani. That is our community-supported area where you can get access to courses and classes and me. You can message me over there and I'll be happy to help you along your music journey. Today, we're going to further our mindfulness journey, our music mindfulness journey. And one of the things that, one of the things I really appreciate about music is that it's, no matter what kind of music it is, no matter what's going on, I'm fascinated by the instruments, by the sounds, the rhythms, the textures, the genius of people and communities, everything about it is, and art in general, but music in particular, because that's, my area of study. And it's just, I find myself in awe, almost constantly when I hear either a type of music or an instrument that I haven't heard, or a composition, a piece of music, or an artist performing somehow, demonstrating some kind of skill or technique or some sort of aesthetic that I haven't experienced before. And it just seems like, the longer I'm alive, the less I've heard, even though I've heard a lot. And so today's theme is really about wonderment and like childlike wonderment. When people are born, everything is new, right? They're just constantly discovering the world, and there's a certain kind of, awe in that, but also a kind of a peacefulness in receiving wonderment and being in a state of wonderment. It's a very open feeling, and I want you to consider not just the intellectual aspect of wonderment, of kind of being in awe of something or not knowing, and then sort of slowly getting to learn about something, but the feeling of wonderment. What is that? What does that feel like? And to me, that's part of mindfulness, because we know that mindfulness recommends that we are attending, that we're paying attention to not only the external, not only to what we perceive, what we focus on. And what we focus on, of course, determines largely how we experience the world, right? Because we can't focus on it all. We don't, and we can't pay attention to it all. We have to decide consciously, or sometimes through circumstances, what we're going to attend to. And then that shapes, our experience of the world. But there's also the internal experience of how are we being in that moment of attendance, of attending to something. What is our internal experience, our reaction, our response, our involvement, because it's a partnership, right? Life is a partnership between what's going on, what's happening, and what's, and my reaction, my decisions, my responses, my feelings. And that's those two things together kind of make up your life experience. So that, I think, is a very empowering message, because that means that, sure, a lot of what happens in your life is not up to you, which is fine. I don't think you would want it to be, right? You wouldn't want it to be totally predictable and have control over everything. That would be boring. But about half of it, the other half of what happens, is really up to you. It really is about your response. And so if you're walking through life in a state of wonderment and not judgment, and not defining everything, and not pretending or thinking that you know everything and you know, this and that and what this is like. If you can be open even to the everyday things around you that you've experienced thousands of times, if you can see them as new and be in a state of wonderment and curiosity, I think is at the core there. And also appreciation, because wonderment is not just about being curious. Wonderment is about being, wow, isn't that interesting? Or, I didn't know that, or that's a new way to look at that, or this is a different experience of the same thing. And that is a skill that can help carry you and propel you in a way that I think is very palatable and, based on the aesthetics of life, not just the minutia, the numbers and the measurements and the counting and, quantifying life. We do that in a lot of ways. We like to quantify life, things that happen. But that's not, if you think about the quality of your life, that's really not that important for the aesthetic of life, because the aesthetic of your life, like music is all about aesthetics. The aesthetics of your life largely determine how you feel about your life and how you feel from moment to moment, right? Throughout each day. That is relating to the quality of your life, right? Because if you have $1 zillion in the bank, or whatever your monetary unit is, if you have $1 zillion things in the bank and you've got all the stuff, but you don't feel good day to day, moment to moment, if you're still stressed out and worried, it doesn't matter. And vice versa, if you have nothing, no possessions, which a lot of enlightened masters, teachers, move in that direction. But you feel if you're in a state of wonderment, which I think enlightened poets like Rumi and Hafiz and some of the authors that have written and that are quoted in sacred texts all over the world, that's something that they talk about, is being in a state of wonderment. So I have a reading for you today, something a little different. And I just read this yesterday on our flute play-along, and that's over at Patreon. But this comes from a colleague, I'll say is a colleague of mine, the Lauren Roche, who wrote or put together a translation that he calls the Radiant Sutras. And these are translations of the sutras from Sanskrit. And this is a little book. You can look it up, called the Radiant Sutras by Lauren Roche. I recommend it. And so here's a reading that I'd like you to consider, and then we're going to get back to some music making and move on with our day and go out and be in a state of wonderment. But here's just one example. There's lots of, many of these. Here's one. The universe is here to reveal unlimited splendor, infinite diversity of expression. No one can withstand her allure. Adore the colors and shapes of her enchantment, and know the one who permeates it all is a great lover, deeply relating above and below, immortal and mortal, transient and eternal. Perceive the terrifying beauty. Be free to suffer and to be thrilled, to tolerate intolerable ravishment. I love that last line. To tolerate intolerable ravishment. I was just talking about being in a state of wonderment. But whoever wrote that was talking about tolerating intolerable ravishment. So how can you do that in your own life? Find the beauty, find the wonderment. Just be in awe of life. There's so many ways to do that. I'm going to take us back into some music, and thank you for joining me today in this music mindfulness experience. I hope this is helpful. That's the idea. And if it is, let me know and share this experience with your friends and people you think might need it. That's why we're here. That's why I'm putting this out. It's just to help. There's no cost. We're not asking for any donations for the music mindfulness service. It's just something that I like to do, and the messages are important to me. And I've talked about why in the past, but basically I want to improve my environment, which is you, which is made up of other people, which is made up of the people outside of myself. All right, let's get back into the music. Thanks for tuning in today. Meet me at patreon.com/Kalani for more. And I'll talk to you in a minute before we wrap up. Thanks for tuning in today, everyone. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you next week.